Why, hello there. Did you miss this, Blue Table fans? Alright guys, I got a ramble going on here. First off, at the studio here we use Vallejo paints, which are awesome. And it's not just, hold on, I can do this. It's not just the paints themselves. It's that they're commonly available. And that way, you know, we're always well supplied with what it is that we need. But I found out something. A color that we use a lot of is pale sand, which is like a sort of a light ivory color, I guess. Maybe, or dark ivory? I don't know. I don't know how it compares to ivory. So, but you can also use model color, bone white. Found out that's basically the same thing, maybe even exactly the same thing. Vallejo puts out two brands of paints, Model Color, which has a wider range, and then Game Color, which really stands right up against Games Workshop paints. And quite frankly, I don't even know why anybody uses GW paints. However, I am thinking of switching to Army Painter. I'm testing that out. But matching is a huge part of what we do, where you know, I have clients come back 5 years, 10 years later, and they're like, hey, I'm ready to do the next part of my army. Or somebody buys the army. And this morning I was thinking, wow, we have a lot of armies out there, at least 1,000, I would say. And people don't throw them out. So I wonder what happened to all of them. So it's pretty exciting. So, as you guys may know, if you follow my Facebook, I got married this last weekend. Super excited about that. It was, I'd say, a personal transformation. And I'll talk more about it on a separate video. Yeah, I was married for 20 years, married young, and then 4 years of dating, a lot, by the way. In the end, I had 115 first dates that I had gone on. I actually got pretty good at it, and as a very social person, I really enjoyed it. But I'm definitely not going to miss it. I've opened up a new chapter, so away we go. Oh, what else? Again, that's like, I could talk for like a half an hour about there. My thing says special events. What is that? All right, we'll come back to that. And you know, there's so many games coming out, and it's always seemed that way, but especially the last like 6 years. I think that 3D printing and methods of production have really kicked it into high gear. Hold on, I gotta just adjust this a little bit. Come on now, be good to me. There we go. That's going. Aha, ha, 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 ha. Yeah. Wait, nope. Yeah, that worked. Okay, so, by the way, bought a couple of new tripods. I think I mentioned that already. So yeah, a lot of games, and as you know, I'm a huge fan of Dungeons & Dragons, role-playing in general, and Pathfinder is coming out with 2nd edition. And let me tell you, I've been like going back and forth with it. And a couple days ago, I was like, you know what? If it's going to be a totally different system, which it is, it's notably different. It's not backwards compatible. I'm like, I may as well just play some other completely different game. So I've been really like sort of working my way through it. And I have to say that I'm coming around to Pathfinder version 2. And here's why, among many different reasons. One is that the company that makes it is really good and has a lot of support for it. And I think, you know, they're going to come out with a range of products. But therein lay the problem, which is I already collected Pathfinder 1st edition. There's like 40 books for it. I mean, it's not a small amount of books. It's a lot. And that's just the books. And never mind supplements, adventure paths, and stuff like that. And I'd feel differently if it were, again, if it were backwards compatible, if you could just use the old stuff with the new system without a lot of conversion. But the fact is, you would need a lot of conversion to convert it over. So, oh yeah, just it breaks my heart because I certainly loved Pathfinder. I love all the resources, like the book. It's just so nice to be able to go, you know, oh hey, I've got a lizardman tribe. Oh, let's get out the monster codex and see, you know, the 10 different types of lizardmen tribe things that they invented. So there's that. I've been watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and that that show is ridiculously awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a little messed up, but don't fall asleep with that playing in your headphones, because you'll have some very strange dreams. Recently, I was looking at Queen of the Demon Web Pits. Now, this is my first ever Dungeons and Dragons module that I played in. I was in 6th grade. I rode my dirt bike over to a friend's house, and they were just playing D&D on the floor, like 3 of them. And I was like, "What's this?" And I was hooked. Oh my gosh. Just in that same day, I was like, what? Psionics? What are psionics? Mind powers? This is fantastic. So anyways, so yeah, this was my first module that I DM'd, and I was immediately the DM. Nobody wanted to do it. Everyone wants to play. I'm like, bring it on. I want to host. And so away we go. So I was rereading this the other day, and I got to tell you, Gary Gygax did a good job. Well, he actually didn't write this one. He wrote this module, for those of you that are new to it, is actually the 7th in a series, the 7th and final installment. It was the 3 giant modules, and then there were 3 drow modules where you go into the Underdark and explore around there. And then finally you go to basically another plane of existence, and that's Queen of the Demon Web Pit. So Gary Gygax, he wrote all of those modules, but then he was behind on the Dungeon Master's Guide, and he had to turn the writing over to this other guy. But anyway, I was looking through it, and it was like, some of the encounter things are like, you rolled a whatever, so you encounter 20 to 80 gnolls. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. That's back when it was theater of the mind. You would do it all on like pen and paper. You'd be like, all right, 80 gnolls, not a problem. I'll write 80 on this paper. And that's how many there are, and you just keep track of everything. And so now, of course, they're more like board games. And with the advent of board game miniatures, and that all this ties in, guys. With the advent of board game miniatures, they're getting down to $2 a figure. And if you buy them on the secondhand market, $2 for a wide variety of awesome figures. And I think that's going to it's going to feed into the industry that I'm in, which of course is assembling and painting miniatures. And in fact, what I've noticed is it used to be all 40K, or like at least 75%. But now that percentage is going down. Age of Sigmar is surging up, but you see a lot of different games, and I'm seeing a lot of my business now is role-playing figures. Rarely you'll see DMs drop a lot of money on, just getting 50 monsters painted up. But it exists, and that's what you have, is that you have people who are now successful in other fields, who have the resources to finally sort of get the setup that they want. And I'm actually one of those people. The exception, of course, is I actually just paint my own stuff for a couple hours a night. My own personal treat to myself after a hard day of pretending to be at work. So Pathfinder 2, based on the reviews, the book is actually out today, is getting a big thumbs up from me. I like it. Unfortunately, I'm in the middle of 2 campaigns, both the Kingmaker thing and First Edition. There's really no way to switch over. Both of my groups kind of want to stay, well, one of my groups wants to stay with Pathfinder 1, at least just for that adventure. And then we'll see about my other group. So, again, got married, and let's see here. Oh yeah, you remember Spartacus? My little eyebrow hair that was growing like straight up? I was finally getting to kind of train him down, and so I get up, day of the wedding. I'm grooming myself, of course, and I'm like, Spartacus has been shaved. He's been cut off to the nub. So I don't know. I was just like, what happened? And so I have my suspicions on who might have done it, but I won't, get into it here publicly. So somebody killed Spartacus, the eyebrow hair, incidentally. Also on my thing, guy, do I really? Yeah, okay, let's talk about that. So I've noticed that something that can kill or dampen a relationship is thinking that it's going to last forever. And so, like, you see that relative and you're like, oh, I'll just see him next time. Oh, they'll be back, I'll be back in wherever state it is later. And it's like, well, yeah, but you don't know. You don't know if you'll see that person again. Or, well, like my grandpa. Grandpa on my mother's side. I spent a summer after I graduated college. I went down to Southern California, spent a summer with my grandparents, and it was a great adventure. But really, I just sort of tuned my grandpa out. I was a dumb 18-year-old, and I just had my headphones in all the time, and but that was it. That was the time that I was going to have with him, and I just sort of blew it up. And I remember my grandma saying, Sean, you really should talk to your grandpa while you're driving, around. I was helping him build decks. So anyway, yeah, that's been something that I've been thinking about recently. All right, well, guys, that's all I got for the ramble today. I always think of things I'm going to say, but then I end up not saying them because I forget. And but I will definitely be back probably tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in.